Texas Tech is going to win the Big 12, and Mike Gundy is the next coach of the Baylor Bears. It's the Big 12 squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
Big 12 squad, new Sunday show, weekend review with in the weekend that was in America's conference, the Big 12. No thin skin, but definitely a lot of hurt feelings in this room right now. It's not some of the day O State, it's all day O State, whether it's Friday, Saturday, or Thursday. They're probably losing at this point. Cody Stovall of Locked On Oklahoma State. Kevin Borba just sitting here saying, like, thank God for Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Colorado flying under the radar a little bit. He's from Locked On Buffs. And Mountaineer Paul. He started with the flaps. He has thrown the flaps away, but he's still buying in to Rich Rod, even though he's so angry. Mountaineer Paul from Locked On West Virginia. Gentlemen, we do have to start with one of the games that neither of the hosts showed up to here, and that is Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. We were all keyed in, 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 noon Eastern Time, and a glorious 10 a.m. kickoff out there in Salt Lake City. Tech puts a statement down. Will Hammond, backup, comes in, makes them the clear favorites. That's all fun and good. But can we hear from a pretty sad JT Wistersill first? I think that's a good place to start.
That started with so much hope and optimism, ends with as disappointing as an outcome as we've seen in recent memory for Utah football, as the Utah Utes fall to Texas Tech 34-10. Hello, everyone. JT Wistersill of Locked On Utes here. Woof. I mean, what else is there to say? You get that epic crowd at big noon kickoff, the game day atmosphere, everything was incredible. Tech had all the penalties. They struggled with that atmosphere. The fans brought it. But unfortunately, the offense didn't. The offense, it was just a bad all-around. Offensive line lost the line of scrimmage. Utah lost the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, which I didn't see coming. Devin Dampier wasn't very good. Jason Beck, I didn't think was great. This was just a brutal performance for Utah. Yeah, the defense tackling wasn't great, but this is still a 10-3 game at halftime. It was a close game, and Utah just could not make enough plays, couldn't do anything on offense, and thus you get blown out at home. We'll see how quickly Utah can turn things around against West Virginia, but this is as disappointing a performance as the spotlight that Utah was given, and they just squandered it. So for more Utah coverage, keep it at Locked On Utes. Disappointing result today.
Tech gets the big win, but maybe more funny. Gentlemen, Utah, frauds, question mark.
Well, you calling them Oklahoma State is probably going to ruffle some feathers, but it might have been fitting for that particular ball game, buddy, because it was pretty ugly, and the fact that they couldn't get anything going in the fourth quarter, it just showed that Texas Tech is as advertised. I will admit I was very impressed by Will Hammond. I've been a massive Baron Morton proponent of their success because of him. But, dude, Will Hammond's ability to escape the pocket, throw off platform, hit people in stride was extremely impressive. Yeah, Texas Tech definitely looked like they were the team to beat, although I would say that KU looked pretty remarkable in their performance as well.
I think we joked about it in the chat, Cody, like when we were texting though, and I think I said Will Hammond just Wally pipped Baron Morton, because I do think I was really impressed with him.
Wouldn't it be Baron Morton Wally pipping? Will Hammond's Lou Gehriging.
Someone's getting Wally pipped. That's all I know.
There's some pippage going on here.
There's some pippage. I don't know how it goes properly, but you're right though, Cam. You're right. I think Baron Morton, got Wally pipped by Will Hammond simply because, did I just say the same thing? Either way, here we go. Utah didn't look like what we thought they'd be. I think that's sort of been their journey since joining the Big 12, is like, hey, we have the best team. Like Kyle Whittingham for 2 years in a row now has said this is, like, last year, that was the best team he's ever had. They went 4-8. This year, this is the best offensive line we've ever had. And Devin Dampier was running for his life. And I think the one play that killed them was that 69-yard touchdown that got called back, because that was like the one semblance of life they had. And then it got snatched from them. And then we never saw that offense really do anything again. And so I think it's more of a lesson of how good Texas Tech is. And I think Utah is good, but not against the top team, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, that extra investment pays off, right, for Texas Tech. It's no doubt.
28
two
extra.
defensive tackles are elite. They remind me of those Texas defensive tackles from a few years back, right before they left the Big 12 when they had that elite defensive line. That's exactly what Utah ran into yesterday because West Virginia had 3 offensive linemen that went to the NFL and played against that Texas defensive line, similar outcome. So sometimes it's just all about ability. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes, not the X's and the O's. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. I still think Utah is a good team. I still think they have a good defense. They hung in that game for a little while. But at the end of the day, man, that extra investment paid off. That's exactly what it's for. That's why you do it. That's why West Virginia said, hey, look, we're going to be in the top funding tier of the Big 12 because we see what this looks like. And hopefully we can do something similar to that going forward because, look, it's right in front of everybody's eyes. You have to invest outside of the cap.
What Paul is saying there is Ren Baker needs to come on home to
No.
That's exactly. I heard that. I heard that too.
Yeah.
If you read between the lines, you get that.
I think he actually said it.
Chris Level was buried this week. Buried this week for his take on Utah just not being the toughest place to play. I think he called it basically a neutral site game. So Dax is asking the question that matters here. Is it Bryce Eccles Stadium now?
It's got to be.
They need to change the name to that.
They harassed Chris Level. They harassed our poor friend Chris Level. They went after his family. They went after everything about him. And you know what he does? He waits until Texas Tech gets that dub and tweets. I forgot what he tweeted, but
it was like a one-liner.
Humble as ever, Chris Level.
Masterclass, like
I do now. That's what he's put. I do now.
Because they were talking about, are they ready for
I'm ready for Bryce Eccles Stadium?
Yeah. And masterclass by Chris Level. I think that's sort of been Utah's thing, though, is they run their mouth and then it doesn't go their way, right?
In the Big 12, yeah.
And Chris Level is like the one guy
the
nicest person ever. I think we could all agree is probably the kindest guy ever. So for him to have a little zinger on Twitter, it's the best.
And like you should know by now. Like when Level talks some mess here, because we're live, talks some mess. He doesn't just throw that out willy-nilly, man. Like he's got some conviction when he's talking some trash. And the dude was right. The dude was right.
Him. That's what he said. They said
the Hamburglar comes in and saves the day, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so that makes Tech probably the favorite for most people in the Big 12 after 1.5 weeks of Big 12 play here. But Mountaineer Paul, I want to go back to what Cody said a little while ago, and I'm wondering if there's an alliance between you guys now with how the first month of the season has gone. Is Texas Tech your favorite, or is Kansas your favorite to win? I think we really blew past that. Blowed isn't a word. Blew past that Cody Stovall said, yeah, maybe it's Kansas.
I don't know. I think they're pretty good. I mean, if you look at the numbers yesterday, Look at the numbers yesterday. Kansas didn't do as much as it looks like they did on offense. Jalen Daniels had under 200 yards passing. Like it really was more about we couldn't get anything going, right? We had 7 straight 3-and-outs. Anytime you do that, you're going to put your offense in bad spots. And I think it was more of a field position. And they also had 3 or 4 really big returns. One went to the house. I still believe in our defense. I really do. I still think we have a good defense. I'm not saying it's elite, but I think our defense held us in there as long as they possibly could. But whenever you don't move the ball, you're obviously putting your defense in bad spots. We're down 4 starters on offense. That definitely didn't help. Starting wide receiver, one of the best running backs in the Big 12, our starting center is out, and a running back that went off last week who was proven to be good with the mediocre offensive line that we had. So I do think Kansas is a really good team. I'm not going to say that they're a Big 12 contender after what I saw on Texas Tech. And obviously maybe alongside Texas Tech could be a question. But I'm going to say no. I still think they're one level down.
So do we all just think
I love
Texas
you
Tech
like,
and then everyone else is that the vibe I'm getting here, Cam?
It's kind of how I feel at this point. That's maybe a little harsh on new guy Nick. Because Iowa State didn't play. I still think those two are really the top 2 for me right now.
Yeah. I would support.
I mean, it's also week 1.5.
You love
Big 12 play. So.
TCU looks good too.
TCU, that's a good point. TCU looked very good. It doesn't look great for Baylor that SMU and Auburn lost yesterday. Fantastic. And Baylor lost too. But yes, TCU right in that mix, man. They got the quarterback. They're playing well. They They beat an FCS team in week 1, but they've bounced back nicely since then, and won the Iron Skillet. That's a good point, Bor, but TCU's got to be in that discussion, fellas.
And you should hate the SEC officials now too, because they cost Auburn a win, right? So you should be banging the table for the SEC officials to be punished, because
Auburn plus 6.5. I said this in the group chat. That ruined my life. That was like the worst beat I've ever had in my life. Okay, I'm literally sitting there. We got to go to break, but I'm sitting there. And Oklahoma misses the 2-point conversion. They're up 5, and Auburn just keeps getting backed up. And it's like less than a minute left. And I'm like, okay, at least they're not going to score, right? It's like 4th and 23 at their own 5-yard line, but at least Oklahoma's not going to score. Like, they're going to turn the ball over on downs here, and they're just going to knee out the clock. And then that stupid, useless Jackson Arnold, man, he just takes a safety. What are you doing, man?
You
what
wish you were him, though. You wish you were him.
5 to 7. Are you kidding me with that? Like the dude, sack number 10. Anyway.
Clearly, we're not bothered by it, though, as you can tell. We're not bothered at all.
That's just the warm-up, because we got to talk about Baylor, Arizona State next. Is there going to be a shakeup in the coaching carousel in the Big 12? Let's do it next on the Big 12 squad. I wanted to give Cody Stovall a little bit of time to ease into this thing, because the story of the weekend for futility in the Big 12 is Oklahoma State going down to in-state rival Tulsa. And when I was talking to my dad yesterday, he was like, that's a big one for recruits. And I'm like, well, Oklahoma State shouldn't be battling with Tulsa for recruits, but maybe that is the case now. Tulsa takes it 19-12. Is this the end for Mike Gundy?
It has to be, unfortunately, because there was like 36 recruits on hand for this ball game. And he's 100% right. Are we typically competing with Tulsa for recruits? No, not really. We landed Katie Jones, number 1 running back in the state. Taj Overton, the number 1 overall player in the state. Trey McLaughlin, number 1 linebacker in the state. Carter Langendorfer, the number 2 safety in the state. So we have dominated the state of Oklahoma in recruiting this year. We have pushed OU completely out of the way. And now the crescendo event is this flipping loss to Tulsa, the first one in Stiller since 1951. Like, that is the problem with this season under Mike Gundy thus far, as we keep talking about, well, this is the worst loss since 1915. This is the worst season since 1994. This is the first loss to Tulsa at home since 1951. Whenever you're continuously going back 50 years, 30 years, 100 years to talk about what kind of records you're breaking in a bad way, it's probably time to move on. So as much as it does hurt my heart to see Mike Gundy go out this way, right? Somebody talked about earlier, you either coach long enough to be a hero or long enough to be a villain. You guys get what I'm not good.
Yeah, I think that was a coach thing. Yeah.
Or numbers. Yeah. But they, as eloquently as I could put it, it was something to that effect that.
Well, where did you go to school again? Where did you get your degree from?
The School of Hard Knocks with Paul.
I thought it was the school of people who don't read and write so good.
Kids who can't read good. Yeah.
You get that.
It's like Rocky.
I mean, honestly, man, I appreciate you giving me this opportunity, but I think that it's fair that we recognize the man, the myth, the rattlesnake hunting mullet man himself is probably done in Stillwater. So maybe it's appropriate we give a moment of silence for Mr. Michael Ray Gundy.
Thank you. Cody, can you point to, is there like one thing that's gone wrong? I mean, we're talking about 2 years ago, Big 12 championship game, and what, 4 and 15 cents or 5 and 14 cents, something like that. What's going on?
I think you're seeing the same thing to some degree with Dabo Swinney. It's the reluctancy to get involved in the transfer portal and the NIL until it was too late was a problem. Like Mike Gundy, even the Oregon stuff, right? The NIL conversation was talking about Oklahoma State spends $7 million. It's why would you say that if that's true? Because that means you're spending last place in the Big 12. And B, all you're doing is manufacturing reasons why we're not going to be very good. And it seemed as though he was alluding to Oklahoma State fans that we might have trouble against Oregon because we don't have enough roster. That's absolutely preposterous.
Oh, that's definitely what he was doing.
Well, we were horrendous last year, but we had multiple NFL players. We had Ollie Gordon, we had Nick Martin, we had Colin Oliver, and Brendan Presley, yet we couldn't get out of our own flipping way. This is a microcosm of the Cowboy culture that used to build the 2 stars up and take them to the NFL. That's dead. That's gone. That doesn't exist anymore. The only thing that we have to look forward to now is the future of Oklahoma State that probably doesn't feature Mike Gundy.
Yeah, it don't exist in college football anymore, I don't think, the building up. It's sad.
Oklahoma State head coach, Kalen DeBoer.
Oklahoma State coach, Neil Brown.
No. Ironically,
yes!
It's only
Bring him back.
One day,
Bring him back.
I think they want
the weather
Ben
nice.
Arbuckle, right, Cody? Don't you want Ben Arbuckle? That's your guy right up the road.
That has been a name floated by Oklahoma State fans.
Okay.
A couple of the names that I've heard some of the donors at least want us to reach out to is one of them is Gus Malzahn.
Gus Malzahn.
Don't say Ren Baker.
Gus Malzahn. No, Ren Baker, dude. You Paul, love you to death, but you already know Ren Baker is probably
it's the only job he would leave for
right?
Sure.
And he's probably a bigger target per se than a coach because one of the biggest deficiencies with Mike Gundy is his inability. Mike Gundy ostracized most donors. Right? He didn't even like Boone Pickens. And so Mike Gundy doesn't believe that donors should have a say. Mike Gundy doesn't believe that donors should be involved. Unfortunately, in this new age of college football, it's a necessity. And Ren Baker recognizes that. So while Oklahoma State struggles in the coaching department, we've also struggled in the raising money department outside of concerts. And part of that is because Mike Gundy doesn't want to work with any of the donors. So they're not going to give more money for somebody that they don't feel like is invested in them. It's a crazy world that we live in right now, but the donors do have a say in this thing. But Gus Malzahn was the craziest name that I'd heard. Golish over at UCF is also a name that some of the donors
would be a good one.
Reach out to.
Jimbo?
I think Jimbo would be good.
Jimbo.
You could pay him less because Texas A&M's still paying him.
he's double income. Yeah.
John Summerall. John Summerall was another name that I saw pop up last night.
See, those are all like Golish is good, but I think he's waiting for Billy Napier's days to be done, right? Because then he could just slide up the road. And then Summerall, I think he's a Kentucky alum. So if they pull the plug on Mark Stoops, he could go back. Now that just depends on if he wants to.
Colin Klein would be pretty good too. You could steal somebody from Kansas State if they really want to come home.
I like the Colin Klein idea. I'm still in on
Arbuckle's
the Zach
interesting too.
Yeah,
I mean, he obviously. Not only has Arbuckle not been a head coach yet, but like 6 years ago, he was coaching Seminole High as an OC. I think that was 2020. Worked with Bailey Zappi at Western Kentucky, worked with Zach Kitley as a coach there, then gets Mateer, Washington State, and OU. A guy who can recruit the FW potentially because he's going to have to do that in Oklahoma. But this is also only year one at Oklahoma, and that's just an interesting one to throw out there, Cody, Ben Arbuckle.
Yeah, no, I think he's definitely on the short
list. What about Belichick?
Nicky?
Throw all of them, man.
Does Jordan have to come?
I mean, yeah, she'll work with the donors. Will she not?
She probably would. She'd probably help with the donors.
Yeah, Kodal Nicky should be up there. I don't know that we could afford Kodal Nicky because what he's making as a coordinator at Penn State is probably near the range of what we would try to offer a first-time head coach.
Speaking of Belichick, how about this, Cody? I've thrown it on the rundown. Let's just throw it out to you now. Like at this point in the season, should Oklahoma State and Carolina just play 8 times for the rest of the year?
What do you call it? The Special Needs Riri McGee Bowl? I mean, I guess you could.
I mean, if you can brand it.
You could call it the Pac-12 because I think Oregon State and Washington State play twice this year.
that should be like this should be a punishment, man. Like whoever, it's like finishing last in your fantasy football. Whoever finishes last in a real conference has to make up the Pac-12 next year.
Well, and
they're all over the country anyway.
And that is precisely why I don't think Oklahoma State can do what we typically do, which is wait. Right? We waited in basketball until the end of the season to fire Mike Boynton, which put us kind of in the rearview mirror looking forward. I don't think we can do that. There is going to be a lot of conversation that Mike Gundy is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. He's the legendary coach that deserves a statue. But I think letting him finish the season sends a terrible message. I think that does more damage to the recruiting class than positives for the recruiting class. So Oklahoma State doesn't fire people midseason. I mean, it does not happen. We never do this.
He's got to punch a player. He's got to pull a Woody.
If they do, they got to wait 5 games so that way nobody can leave. Punch a player, right? Because
I'm telling you, it's a good way to get out of the legend.
Kevin, I almost feel like that some of these players got put in a pretty bad situation, and so some of these players probably deserve a ticket out. As much as it pains me to say that,
right?
I don't think waiting that 5 games to prevent people from leaving is the right recipe. We're in the burn it down and build it up from the ashes mode anyways. Yeah. So I think that there could be some people that want to leave in the season. But I can tell you this, I talked to a few players the other night, and the players are mad. I'll give you one thing. We were down to Tulsa at halftime, and there was players in the locker room talking about what jewelry they were going to buy. I heard this directly from other players. And I was like, if that's the state of the program that we're in, then we just need to rinse it away right now. We just need to wash it away. And
maybe it's not the worst that some of these guys hit the road, right?
Right, exactly. That's my point.
That's sort of the defense with all these coaches being fired is you want to wait at least 5 games because if you fire them after 4, all these guys can redshirt and leave. Like the guys could still leave, but obviously they'd already lost the season. Now that's the slimy part of college football, but
it is.
Yeah, because like in reality, he probably deserves to coach the season because of everything he's contributed. But we live in a bottom dollar society in college football where you can't.
Yep, it's a business now, and that's the way the Board of Regents is likely going to view this. It is the business, and the same thing. Whenever you're replacing a major CEO level of dude, the longer you wait, the more turmoil it creates, the more instability it creates within the office place. I think it's going to be the same. The locker room is a disaster right now. Another fun one I will leave you with is anybody at that game on the front row in between the 40s behind the Oklahoma State bench, they heard this. There was OSU defensive players talking shit to the coaches and the players very loud. They weren't being quiet, saying stuff like, why don't you just put us in? We can throw the ball better than our own quarterback. When that stuff is going on, the season is done.
That sounds lovely.
The coaches are cooked.
Got a bad culture there. That's what it comes down to, right? And like,
well,
that's the hard part about losing
preseason. If you bring in 60 transfers, it either goes really well and you win 12 games, or it's a disaster and you win 2.
Mike Gundy might not be the only coach in the Big 12 that's on borrowed time right now. And Kevin Borba's Colorado Buffs are kind of sneaking up on everyone a week later. Let's do it next on the Big 12 Squad. All right, gentlemen. Arizona State walks off Baylor. Yeah, happens. Walk-off field goal, wins at 27-24. Yet another big home game that Baylor and Dave Aranda cannot win. We said it going into this week, like that's a big game. Tech and Utah was the biggest game. But this one, Baylor, Arizona State, we'd probably find out who, even though, again, week 1 in the Big 12 for both these teams, would find out a lot more about these teams and who was going to be legit. So it was a sloppy game all the way around. Baylor lost the turnover battle by 3, gifted Arizona State 9 points. They win on a walk-off field goal. Are the defending Big 12 champs at Arizona State after a bad loss to Mississippi State for real in this conference in 2025?
I think they've taken a step back by far. I
don't trust that impressive.
Yeah, I don't. I was watching the game. They're good, but like I don't think they're what they were last year. And I would think that'd be more of a question for you. Is like you watch them that game from start to finish. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think the Baylor Bears should have won that game?
Like Baylor, I thought was the better team, but they made all the mistakes. Like literally all of them. Three turnovers to none. They didn't force one. 2 fumbles and a pick, both of them on the plus side of the field for Arizona State. And this was the best that the defense has played all year. It's actually Dave Aranda's best game all year. And they still lost, just they can't have the offense and defense going right at the same time. So people will take that as me being a sore loser, that I'm like, yeah, Arizona State didn't look like that great, but that's just more of an indictment on Baylor, man. Like that was a bad loss. You absolutely should have won that game. And so I look at that and I'm like, well, you got worked by Auburn at home, and that was fine when Auburn gets into the rankings, but then they lose. Okay. And Jackson Arnold again didn't look all that great. And then SMU, great comeback win, 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter. You come back and win. Well, they've played 2 real opponents this year, and they've lost both of them. So doesn't look great, fellas. Not going to lie to you. It doesn't look great.
Is Dave Aranda's time done? Is he on that Mike Gundy clock?
The people.
By the way, I just got a text that said they might not wait till Monday. We might have an announcement today.
Oh.
Mike Gundy fired today.
I got a text that said they might not wait till Monday. We might hear something today.
Live on the Big 12 Squad right now.
That's
Cody Stovall all day. O State.
What I just got.
Fellas, This could be huge. We could be witnessing the end of the era potentially of Oklahoma State football right before our eyes.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't even realize, Cody, that he played quarterback there too. Like he's like legit responsible for like a majority of the program's success.
Well, and Porba, the worst part is the offensive coordinator, Doug Meacham, was one of his offensive linemen. Doug Meacham blocked for Gundy and Thurman and Barry.
Oh,
yeah. As far as go ahead.
I was going to say, can I give you guys like a hypothetical here? Can I give you Coach A, Coach B kind of thing? All right. Looking at the last 4 seasons here. All right. Coach A in the last 4 seasons, 20-22 for a 480 winning percentage, 2-0 in bowl games, but 0-9 win seasons and 0 conference championship appearances. Okay. That's Coach A. Commit that to memory. Coach B over the last 4 seasons, 19-23. That's a 450 winning percentage, 0-2 in bowl games, 0-9 win seasons, and 0 conference championship appearances. It's a what have you done for me lately business. Would you fire both Coach A and Coach B?
Yes.
I'm scared to know who one of them is because I feel
Coach A would have a better chance of sticking around than Coach B.
Yeah. But I'd give Coach A another year, but Coach B, I don't know. I'm scared to see what these coaches are.
So if I go back one more year and that coach had 11 wins, would that be Dave Aranda?
Well, Paul.
Oh, whoa. I thought we said no 9-win season.
Coach A, not in the last 4 years. Not in the last 4 years. Coach A, the chestiest coach in America when Biff Pogge's no longer the interim. That's Sam Pittman is Coach A.
He's got a chest.
The one who you're like, yeah, I'll give him another year. Coach B is Dave freaking Aranda.
See,
like, are you kidding me?
We were all ready for Coach B to be fired. It was Coach A who held us up.
Yes, and Coach A is like the most fired guy in the country, man. Everyone wants Sam Pittman gone. By the way, I threw another one in here. Coach C, if you will, who spent 6 seasons in the Big 12, had exactly a 500 win percentage, 2-2 in bowl games, 0 conference championship appearances, and 0-10 win seasons. Paul, can you tell me who that is?
Oh, that's Neil Brown.
That's Neil Brown.
Yeah.
And we said after last year when Dave Aranda got the momentum, Chris Level was there to see it when I was talking about it. When Dave Aranda got the momentum back, we said just be wary of the Neil Brown thing. Neil Brown saved his job with a 9-4 year, and the next year he was so freaking fired, man. Like that's I think that is damning, the Pittman versus Aranda comparison. Now, of course, as Paul brings up, Dave does have a 12-win season in there. He has a conference championship in there and a legit New Year's 6 bowl win and a top 5 finish in the AP poll. You're someone else's players, but he did do that.
You're going to bring up the Big 12 championship amongst the turmoil I'm currently going through. Read between the lines, and read between the lines. Man.
Yeah, Chris Level take a victory lap, though.
So how much does that do for your guys' fan base? You've all gone through different new coaches, except for Cody in the last 5 years. What does that do for you guys to be like, oh, yeah, he did that, but that was 4 years ago. The guys who he's recruiting in the 2027 class, those guys were in 7th grade when he did that.
I think this era fan cares the least about anything beyond 2 years ago, right? Like I don't think I think everyone has a shorter memory, a shorter attention span for success, right? It's like I know Dave Aranda won that Big 12 championship. That feels like I was that 10 years ago. That feels like I was like
also in year 1.
Yeah,
right.
With Matt Rule's squad.
Yeah, year 2.
Oh, year 2. Okay.
First year was COVID. I kind of gave him a mulligan there. They were 2-7.
Did Dave Aranda win a Big 12 title, or did Mike Gundy lose a Big 12 title?
I'm going Dave Aranda won. Chris Level, what do you think? Dave Aranda wins. Mike Gundy lost.
Thumped like Utah. Chris Level, where you let us know when the merch is going to drop that says you done got thumped. Let us know.
Man.
At Bryce Eccles Stadium. I got thumped at Bryce Eccles Stadium, and all I got was the stupid T-shirt.
Or even you besmirched me, I besmirched you.
What a mess that was on social media in the last week and a half. But it turned out, I guess when I got clipped, I guess I was accurate. How
good did it feel to send that?
Your Red Raider Army showed up for you hard last night, and it was so much fun to watch. Red Raider Nation was all about Chris Level. You were probably the trendiest thing in Red Raider Nation, and it was beautiful to see.
Okay, and I, we're all taught not to be a part of the story. I didn't intentionally try to be a part of the story, but that game was just nipping. I mean, for 3 quarters, it was just like Iowa and Iowa State. You're just beating each other up, and and it was a Big Ten type game, and then the dam broke, and a lot of those people left. It was a good environment, but it not in the middle of the fourth quarter. But I don't know. I still think we have to remember this is a long season. I don't know how good Utah is. They're really good up front, but
that's Cody. Remember that game last year?
Yeah, no, that's what we talked about last week. I completely agree, and you got a long way to go. Everybody does, but that was a heavyweight fight. So anyway, but it was fun. But yeah, thumped.
Big 12 favorites,
man.
September, but Big 12 favorites.
I mean, they are. I still. And I've maintained all along, I always thought Arizona State was this. I just think they have everybody back. It's their crown.
I like that.
I don't know why.
I think they're one of the best teams in America, if I'm being honest.
Well, Cam. I was wondering how that not enough was made in the league circles about how big that game was in Waco for just like the league race.
That was nothing.
Your game in Waco last night. But I think that I always thought Arizona State would be Tech's toughest game on paper because they don't play Baylor, they don't play TCU, they don't play Iowa State, and the concerns I had about Utah are still there. I think they lack weapons on offense. I think they're really good on defense. And Dampier, he kind of looked pretty normal yesterday. And was that all Texas Tech? Was that I don't know, but I think that it's fair to say like a Tech and an Arizona State and Iowa State, maybe even a TCU belong in a different conversation, at least on this morning.
Tech, is this the best defense that we've ever seen in Lubbock?
Yeah, I mean. They were, in 2008, they were legit on defense too. I mean, there was a reason that they were legit. They had draft picks on that defense back in 2008. And they've had good defensive players. I mean, it's funny because everybody jokes about Texas Tech's defense. I mean, Jordan Brooks was a first-round linebacker a few years ago. Tyree Wilson was a first-round defensive end a couple years ago. But collectively, this is the best in 15, 20 years by far. And they really have guys at every level, and they have guys standing over on the sideline that were starters last year for this team or somebody else in this league.
Do we know exactly how much Texas Tech spent? Has that actually been published? Like, we know they spent up to the cap, and then outside of the cap, is there do you have any idea?
Here's what I can tell you.
I would love to know.
This is 100% fact because I was standing. I just interviewed. I was waiting to interview Coach McGuire for post game on the radio, and I was waiting in a hallway by myself. And Cody Campbell walked in. He was there, and he was waiting to talk to Joey before Joey went in the press conference. And he was there, and he enjoyed that win as much as anybody. But here's a conversation that Cody and I have had about this. This is 100% fact. They have spent what you see out there about $55 million. That is an accurate figure, but too many people have taken that figure and don't understand what it is. That is what they've spent on their athletic department NIL, but that also doesn't count your rev share. So you're still, right. So that factors into that number,
right? And
then because I did 2 radio interviews in Salt Lake City that like they spent $55 million on the football program. No, they didn't. That's basketball. That's softball. Which
is the number 28 more accurate? Because that's what On3 has kind of said.
Yeah, 28 is what they put out
on football. But yes, and some of this was front loaded, so they can play the portal game. They can play the portal game this December or January, as it would be, and they can spend a lot more rev share than other people because they didn't. You follow me? It's kind of like they paid it all up front, and so I think they were just trying to take advantage of the rules that were present. So they did.
A few teams did it,
but they weren't the only one. That's what I think has bothered the people around here. It's like everybody acts like they're the only ones that spend any money or as much and all that. That's just not the case. That's
Rich Rod said we did it.
That's the go-to excuse for every team now. Chris is like, we didn't buy our team. We actually tried to build a culture here.
Yeah, you should have. Kevin Borba has been here for 35 minutes, and we have not talked about the Colorado Buffs yet on this lovely Sunday.
And they were. I like those black unis, Borba. Those were slick looking, man.
I did too. I like the black unis. I like not benching your transfer quarterback. I liked it all.
Nice. And you beat a legitimate football team. Wyoming's typically a pretty good ball club.
Well, let's lay this out to add on to what Cody just said here. Look, you beat Wyoming fairly convincingly, and then the next week you're basically playing a backup quarterback. Bear Bachmeier was not going to be the starter. Does that mean you're going to get thumped on your home field though? Because Utah just did the same thing.
I think Colorado has to take everything week by week. Honestly, it's been a whirlwind of.
This is a tough couple of weeks, Borba. This is a tough
everything
stretch
changes.
coming up. Utah all of a sudden looks like the most manageable in the next 4 games. TCU on the road, and then Iowa State at home after that.
And BYU still on. I think BYU.
Yeah, BYU this week.
Yeah. So it's tough. I think Colorado is just trying to survive each week. I think Deion Sanders got proved wrong by his own quarterback, right? I think when you bench a guy who I don't know how much they paid him, but they paid him to bring him in, right? You paid for him to transfer in, and then you bench him after 1 game and 2 drives, and you're just like, oh, you're not our guy anymore. And I just don't feel like they handled this quarterback situation well at all. I think it kind of hindered their growth in terms of finding their identity, because I think if you ask 10 people who cover Colorado what their identity is, you probably get 10 different answers because no one knows. But the Wyoming
solidified though, is your quarterback solidified?
Who even has a solidified quarterback these days?
Tech has 2 of them.
Does Texas Tech have one? No. Right. So I think,
and you know what though, you do. That's a joke, but rarely does everybody roll through with just one guy. I mean, it just doesn't. Whether it's
such a Tech thing to say.
We've been repping 5.
Well, but it's the truth. I mean,
it's all the time. I love it. But no, I mean, Baylor didn't even have one guy last year. DeQuan Finn was playing that game at Utah last year.
Where's he at? Like Miami of Ohio now?
He went back to the MAC. I think that's.
They just lost to UNLV. UNLV's first East Coast time zone win. Shout out to the Rebs. But I think for Colorado, I just think they need to chill. Like just pick a decision. I mean, it helped that
Netflix and chill is what I hear Borba saying. Netflix and chill.
Maybe.
I caught him doing that one time.
Maybe.
Fellas, this has been a great maiden voyage of the Big 12 Squad Weekend Review, which will come at you around this time every Sunday. Yeah, Cody, let's do it.
Let me get one more thing in, and I'll get out of here. Something that Chris Lovell talked about, and maybe the end of Mike Gundy. If a donor was waiting on Mike Gundy after a game, Mike Gundy would punch him in the throat repeatedly and then ban him from the facilities. You think I'm playing? If Mike Gundy heard of donor waiting to talk to him, he would lose his ever-loving mind, and that shows you once again in this world of NIL, we are very disconnected from where things are.
Yeah, you got to be aligned, man. You got to be on the same page.
Jet Duppy for life.
That was almost like NIL was really in its infancy, Chris, when Tech makes that hire with Joey McGuire. Yeah. But I mean, personality-wise, again, we got to see it come into a 10-win season, right? Mm-hmm. But personality-wise, perfect hire at the perfect time, wasn't it? Like for aligning and dealing with all that. Yeah,
he is a connector. He is a culture builder. He is a energy. I mean, yeah, you're right. I think he is able to manage, and it's not easy. And he's been able to adapt. And I mean, it's just because that's what this requires. You got to be able to connect to the janitor and the biggest donor and like put it all together. And then you've got to take all these new pieces and squeeze it together and glue it and go, okay, we can be the best version of ourselves. And that's difficult to do. Not everybody can do it. But it's working here so far. But you're right. There's plenty more to still try to prove, and you haven't done anything yet. And I just want to say, Jake's not here, but I appreciate all the new BYU fans that I have out there. Much respect to Coug Nation, man. Yeah, that's right. But
my enemy is a friend of mine, right, Chris?
That's right. There you go. Look, I mean, and they probably belong in that conversation as far as a potential contender as well. They've done nothing wrong. They haven't done anything to show that they don't. Yep, that's right.
Oklahoma State quarterback wears number 47. It's so hard to take it serious.
I love it, man.
It's so hard.
It's perfect.
It's not even just that it's not a quarterback number.
It's 1940.
It's that it's an ugly number. All right. Otto Graham at least had a nice round number. I think it was number 60. Okay,
that's a good
number
20
round number. That's perfect. Doug Flutie, 22. Like awesome number. At Permian, they only wear 20 or 25 for their quarterbacks.
Wasn't that Flutie's number?
22 was
Flutie 22.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a thing? The Permian thing? Is that real?
Yes, the Permian Panthers. If you're up in your Friday Night Lights, the quarterbacks always only wear either number 20 or number 25. But what I'm getting from this episode is Oklahoma State head coach Jimbo Fisher, Baylor head coach Kalen DeBoer, Texas Tech head coach Rhett Lashley, because Alabama head coach Joey McGuire. This has been and will be again on Thursday and next week, the Big 12 Squad.